Okay, I've been trying to make the video, but the resolution's like too much, making like every single part of my skin too clear, which is fine, but like maybe a bit more light. Sun, okay, there's like no sun. Great. Okay, this is better. It's like playing a balancing game and the garbage is right there. It's fine, whatever. So I've been sitting here thinking a lot. Thinking is all I've been doing because I'm gonna be whispering a bit because I don't want to wake up my roommates. But I've been dwelling in the fact of ambiguity a little bit because I don't know. I just kind of started this video without really having like a plan of what the heck I'm talking about. But if you're someone who's struggling with not knowing what to do, my eyebrows look crazy. I've never filmed myself, can you tell? Well, I have filmed myself before, but not seriously. But if you're someone who's struggling with not knowing what they're doing, or lots of ambiguity and just, you know, thinking that, oh, this thing's gonna happen and this is how my life's gonna go forward, and you're hoping for, every time you're hoping for something to happen, something that's happened, like something you're looking forward to, and then you're gonna start living, you know, like, I hope I had a word for it. I'm sure I do, but right now my lexicon is feeling a bit limited given the emptiness and hollowness that's going on. This is very dramatic for someone who's, biggest problem is not having a job. I mean, it is a privilege on its own where your biggest problem is you not having a job and still having a good enough livelihood, and like people have bigger problems in their everyday, which is like, I don't know, having a threat to their life or something, and not dealing with scarcity of different kinds. If your biggest problem is you not having a job and still being able to live a good life, like I'm living a normal life, but obviously it would be better if I had a job. Sorry, I'm like trying to figure out this angle, which is that this is like, I've been dealing with a lot of ambiguity because I've been applying to all these jobs. I've been since the beginning of January. I even did some back in December, all throughout for the summertime, and I've been having interviews. So that's positive because last summer I didn't even get any interviews, so that is something. So clearly I'm doing one thing better because they're willing to at least speak to me. And this eyebrow is still bothering me. That's going to be fixed. Yeah, so when you have these conversations and you get your hopes up, and you shouldn't, they always tell you do not ever get your hopes up. They talk to you the same way they talk to the 4 people before you, and the same way they will talk to the 6 people after you. So you never should, but you know, your brain, I don't think, like, maybe somebody who's in science or psychology can tell me if the brain can tell the difference between false flattery or the sort of textbook guideline that these people use to speak to you and interview you. Because your brain ends up thinking, oh, I did great. I mean, you don't go into an interview thinking like, oh, like this is the best interview of my life. You kind of like you hope that you do a great job given the context of the interview. And if you don't get it, you think, oh, well, that was the worst thing of my life and that was the worst conversation. Like I can't even hold a proper conversation. But imagine you did end up getting the job, and then it's like, actually, that was the best interview of my life. But maybe that's not the case. You were just maybe the right person for that job. You were the closest person to the right person to that job. It doesn't mean that that was like the best interview of your life. Like, I don't know. That's what I think, at least. So when I've been doing all these interviews and I've been getting no's all around, I just keep telling myself, oh, well, that was the worst thing ever. Like, you should have said this, you should have said that. You could have made a better script, you could have made a stronger answer, but probably nothing was wrong with my interview. They just found somebody that's a better fit. And it's harder to come to terms with that, your brain, I feel like. And I'm talking as if like I'm a separate entity from my brain. Like I exist in the context of my brain. I don't know. it's just, when you continuously get no's, it's hard to sort of recover from it. And maybe I should do my hand like that. Okay, that looks like some garbage or something, but it's not. It's just like the tile. Maybe if I'm like a mime like this the entire time, nobody's gonna notice. It's okay. But anyway, what I was saying is, you can feel in this, I don't know, maybe not everybody's like this and people are normal and move on with their lives once something is over, but I feel myself in this sort of state of pause almost, where it's like, I'm like, okay, because in my head I'm like, I've planned it out, and like, oh, during this time I'll get this job, and then I'll start this, and then I'll start that. Like, I've been wanting to write for so long. I'm someone who found a lot of solace, and I found a lot of guidance and refuge in writing. I loved writing. I loved writing in high school. I loved writing in my own personal time. I'm not like, wanting to be published, but I mean, it would be nice. But that was like my thing. Like, people draw and people sing and people swim, and that's gonna be really loud. People play tennis. I write, and I'm someone who can't even speak to the camera without feeling a sense of pause, because I don't know if I'm using the right words. But yeah, I told myself, I'm gonna get the job, and then I'm gonna use my free time to write. But I haven't landed this hypothetical job that in my head I convinced myself that I will get, which is so stupid, and which is so like naive even. That why did I think that I was entitled to this hypothetical job? Like, who said that I was gonna get it? And maybe I knew deep down that I wouldn't be getting it, but I needed to sort of convince myself in the beginning of the school year, at the beginning of last summer, that, oh, I will get a job next summer. But now I haven't, and I'm like, and the writing keeps getting paused, this thing that I wanted to do for myself. And it's my makeup. But it's like, now should I just, now I'm wanting to just start writing, despite having this hypothetical first step that I wanted to cross. And maybe this is a sign of some kind of undiagnosed OCD, but it's conflicting with my brain, because my brain is like, well, why are you doing this task before this other unfulfilled task? You're not allowed. When it's like, who said that? What's gonna happen if I start writing? And it's not just writing some other things, but I'm just writing is that one thing that's on the list. And I really feel like every time I put my hand up, I can go like this to cover the garbage. It's just recycling. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for the past 3 summers, I've lived the same life. If you're somebody who's feels like they're in this constant state of like limbo, but also like repetitiveness, like I feel like I'm pushing that damn rock up all the time. Well, and that's the point of the rock, is that he kept pushing it up and it kept coming down. But also, like, isn't that another thing where people were like, to Sisyphus, they were like, he ultimately found that if he found purpose in pushing up that rock, that was better than looking at it as like a punishment, because he looked at it like something that he found purpose in it, and something that he finds meaning in. He's okay with doing it for eternity. But it's like, did he convince himself? Is he under delusion? I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of option, because he's been damned to do it forever. But that's not life. I'm not gonna continuously push a rock. Like, there is gonna be an end to it. Like, I know that. But when I've lived the same summer, I feel like 3 times over. Ever since I started university, I feel like the summer of I started university fall of 2023. I'm going into my 4th year. I feel like it's almost shameful to have passed almost 3+ year having almost close to nothing be changed about the way that I've lived this free time. I mean, this is the first summer where I'm actually attempting to change that. And I'm just, I guess, trying to figure out, just because I'm living, or even like you or anybody watching, if you're living this sort of mundane, cyclical living, is it in fact meaningless? I don't think that it is. I don't think that it's meaningless. There's just there's an innate sense of emptiness in it, because you're not doing anything, and anything that is going to serve you fully in the future. And I just keep thinking that all this like sort of free time that I wasted, maybe I could have done something like revolutionary. But then I start thinking about COVID and that whole year that I spent in my room doing what? But I felt less bad about it because I knew that there were 100 other people doing the same thing. But then there was also hundreds of other people doing something meaningful, like saving people, the frontline workers, the nurses and the doctors. But then people can also pass it off as, oh my God, that's their job. They were meant to do it. They knew that they had to do it if something like this happened. But they found probably a lot of meaning in what they did, in a sort of catastrophe. I don't know. Oh God, the wind is kind of moving the phone a little bit. But I guess what I'm trying to think of why I even made thinking. I'm trying to even think of why I started filming this video. I started filming this because I got my 3rd rejection of the week. That's fine. Rejection's normal. 3 rejections a week is probably not that bad. People have probably been getting rejections all over the place. Maybe it's a good thing. At least it's redirection, as they say. But it is sad to keep getting no's. It makes you feel inadequate. It makes you feel unaccomplished. It makes you feel like less of a person at times. Maybe this is really dramatic, but in the moment, you feel your whole world crushing down. Seeing that little message being like, oh, sorry, we're moving on with somebody else. In that like sort of 5 seconds between like opening the email and you reading the title and you registering the information. And you're the most dramatic person ever, and the worst thing that has happened is happening to you. But then afterwards, you kind of calm down, and your brain becomes rational, and it's like, it's okay. It's actually completely normal to feel the way that you do. And you're not the first person to get a rejection, and you're not the last person to get a rejection, and this is not going to be the last rejection. It's going to be first of many. And, I'm not gonna live in the prison that is the brain, the biggest prison of all, that is simultaneously keeping me locked in, but also kind of pressing me or pushing me forward to free my mind. It's kind of like a wrestle with tug of war with yourself. I feel like two sides of my brain is playing, not like the good and evil, because no, I'm talking about the little neurons in my brain playing tug of war, being like, do this for yourself, but the other one being like, no, you can't, because you haven't done this thing that you promised that you would do for yourself. You haven't achieved it, so you can't like leap forward and go to the other thing that you were gonna do, because you haven't achieved that first thing. But it's like, who is making these rules? Who? Not even me, because I'm like, when I find myself consistently like rejecting doing this other thing that I think is more meaningful to myself, because I haven't done the thing that is like required. Like, I do want to work, obviously, but like writing is something that I want to do as well, and it's been kind of been stuck ever since I've been doing these sort of like big person activities. I don't know, maybe these ideas are very scattered, and maybe I won't even post this because I can't get my ideas out properly. And not to quote and refer to this fuck-ass fig tree analogy for the 55th time, but it just really is such a good quote. I have had it on my childhood room wall for so long, the fig tree analogy by Sylvia Plath in her magnum, I'd say, The Bell Jar. it just really is that good, where she's just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be here, I want to be in this context, but ultimately I end up doing nothing. Because I'm what's the point of doing any of this knowing I won't be great or good at it? So I'll just end up in this numb state of nothingness or doing nothing. But isn't that just punishing yourself? I think, like, and that's what I am trying to do, the thing I'm trying to cover, whatever. Actually, this is symbolic. You can't hide the pain. You can't hide the troubles of the mind. Should be dramatic. No, but that's why I feel like when people do escape that sort of mold of the fig tree, the problems aren't over. Say that you do one of the things in the fig tree analogy, where it's like you pick one thing and you're great at it. You're never escaping the jail that is your mind, because then you run into things like imposter syndrome, which is like, actually, we're never good enough and you never will be. This is another part of the brain. It's just like one thing after another. It's like, you know, the door things, and you've seen a lot of those riddles. It's like, you open this door, and you just met with another door, and then another door, and then another door. It's like back rooms almost. I actually want to watch the movie, the Back Rooms movie. Let me know if anybody's seen it. It looks scary, but again, it's that you're not really scared of, these, or no, I mean, I'm sure you are scared of these issues, but ultimately you're scared of ambiguity. Ultimately, you're scared of not knowing. You're scared of not knowing what you want to be. You're not scared of not knowing if you're truly good enough. You're scared of not knowing if the way you say things is how people see you. So it's just, it's more about scared of not knowing than scared of anything else at all. And I'm not the first person to saying this. I'm saying it like I'm this revolution. No, like, I'm sure other people know this and have it in their hearts, but that's the truth. It's the scared of the unknown. I should probably have some text to refer to so I'd sound more sure of myself, but I don't even know. I guess the point of the video is to say, like, if you're someone who feels like in this sort of constant state of limbo and unassuredness and not really knowing if the place that you're in is meant for you, and thinking that, 5 months ago or 5 years ago or even a year ago, I thought I would be in a much better place or a much more improved place, but here I am in the sort of same place. First of all, I disagree with the fact that you're in the same place. I'm sure you're not in the exact same place. It's hard to tell when you are always yourself. You know, I've been the same person for the past 20 years. I don't know. I don't see myself I see myself from within. I can't see myself from, like, I always say it's like a sort of like hovering body, kind of like, look creepy. I can't see myself from like a third person point of view, so I don't know. So to me, I am just seeing that same thing. So I'm sure that you're not the same exact carbon copy of the person that you were a year ago. But it is okay, obviously, to not know and be in that place that you sort of like this expectation that you sort of made up for yourself and said that once you achieve this, you will do this. And it is okay that you haven't achieved that first bullet point, and it's okay to jump the bullet point, you know, and do the next thing if that's what sort of is more doable. And don't restrict yourself to be like, I haven't done that first thing that my mind's prison told me to do. The prison isn't real. Those bars, it's like, you know, it's like that's, it's kind of funny, but it's like that SpongeBob meme where his hands are like inside the you know, the cuffs, but it's like empty. It's okay. You can pull back. It's allowed. Free yourself from here. Let me blame everything on capitalism. I'm just kidding. And then now, like, I'm sure when Sylvia Plath wrote that, she obviously didn't have TikTok. And I would love to know her opinion about this, to be honest. This is bothering me a lot. Because now it's very easy to be like, well, I'm not gonna. So now when we turn to this doing nothing at all, I'm sure in the 50s, doing this nothing at all was just sitting outside and staring at your shoes, which would obviously inevitably turn you, I don't know, clinically insane. But now it's just scrolling on my phone on TikTok for 10 hours without any kind of restriction, which is probably also turning me insane, but in a different way. Because when I'm scrolling, or at least when you're scrolling, do you remember any of the videos? Does anybody remember the last video they watched on TikTok? I want you to just maybe pause this video if you're watching this and like tell me like the last time you scrolled on TikTok. Do you remember the last video? Maybe I can remember the last video, the contents of it, but like there may be the music. I'll remember, if the audio, if it's like a popular one, but not the meaning of it and not the actual gist of it. And if you asked me, what did you see 4 scrolls ago? I don't know, because what am I looking for? When I'm scrolling and maybe watching like 50 plus videos per scroll, I'm calling it the activity is the scroll, is the activity. What am I looking for? Entertainment, a laugh, maybe a smile, maybe inspiration. I'll go as far as to say that. Because sometimes those videos, they can be like, they can be like, oh, do this for the day, go biking, go hiking, outfit inspirations. But ultimately, it's for nothing. It's for nothing. It's like 2 hours of my day doing legit nothing. Because I don't want to succumb to the music or the madness of dedicating myself to this one thing because I think I'm not good enough or nothing will come of it. Like, for example, I'm using myself as this example. If I do start like writing, sorry, that's outside noise. If my writing isn't good enough, what was the point? What was the point? No one's gonna read it, no one's gonna engage with my writing. But me scrolling for 2 hours and me having wasted that time, it's just wasted time. It's not in vain, but it's also not, it was meaningless to begin with. But the writing, it was meaningful to me. And now that it's not done well in this hypothetical context, or, in my brain, it's like the fear when you dissect it. It's like, I write something, it's very meaningful to me in the beginning, and then I go on and nobody reads the writing, nobody relates to it, nobody cares about it. So now it's all in vain, and it's just this awful sacrifice. So ultimately, why do it at all? Let me just scroll for another 20 hours. And that's how I see it. And that's how I end up with I'm just kidding. My screen time actually has gone down a little bit. Just a little bit. I was watching Bridgerton of all shows. Actually, Bridgerton can be good, okay? I will not take slander. And there's a quote that somebody says to Benedict, and she's like, you owe it to yourself to dedicate yourself to something. I'm not sure what the exact quote is, but I think it's something like that. And I was like, wait. And the character in that, Benedict, he's an artist and he hasn't done any kind of great, it's really loud now. Oh my god, this has been in the view the whole time. That's fine. That's okay. I suppose the point of what I'm trying to make is the constant rejection that might make you from multiple things, a job or a goal that you've been trying to achieve, like not doing so well on an exam that you thought you'd do great in, and thinking that you, like 5 years ago, you were like, oh, I'd be in a great place now. Ultimately, you are more in control than you think. And, of course, the universe has its plan and blah, blah, but right now, in this moment, the control that you have to convince your brain, you have to rein in your brain and tell itself that, yes, I do have control. No, I will not be doing that activity that you're forcing me to do just so I can get to this other activity that I really want to do. I'm going to do the second activity because that's what I want to do. So in my case, no, I'm not going to keep on pushing writing just because I haven't landed a job. Because, for some odd reason, my brain thinks that the only reason I'd be allowed to indulge in any kind of creative writing is if I have this if I have this corporate job. The corporate job hunt will happen as well. It's not that it's not happening simultaneously. So yeah, so I'm gonna use the next hour to go and relish in the failures that's been happening, the happening of the failures. That's okay. And I'll do some writing on the side, and maybe it won't be the best writing of my life, because that's another issue. When you do something, or you've been wanting to do something, then you finally find time to do it, and you think that this should be the best work of my life, otherwise, again, it's in vain, and it's a waste of time, and it's like, first of all, something that you do, it's never going to be like the best thing of your life. For example, if you're a pianist, or if you're a ballet dancer or something, each performance is not going to be the best of your life. That's just the fact of the matter. Especially if you're doing it for a long time. But that's an issue for another day, is how you don't want to do things, or you don't want to explore things, because your brain is like, it's not going to be the best anyway, so just don't do it. So yeah, the writing that I might do might be very much mediocre and not the best of my life or the best of anything, but at least I will be doing it, and I will be doing it guilt-free.